Hello everybody, Aonghus here again from St. David's Poultry team. I thought I'd come back on again and create another video on heat stress. There's been a lot of positive feedback from the video I made a couple of weeks back, and I want to give a bit more information around the effects of heat stress on our birds and again reinforce those practical points which we've previously discussed. I guess before we get into what the effects of heat stress are or is on our birds, we should first consider the temperature or the environment in which our birds are in. And depending on the age of the birds and the type of poultry species we're dealing with, there's what's known as the thermoneutral zone. And the thermoneutral zone is the environmental temperature that keeps the bird's body temperature constant. And I hope you'll be able to recognize that at different stages of production and at different ages of a bird's life, there will be different requirements for temperature. We place day-old chicks on a farm today and we're looking for environmental temperatures of 33 to 34 degrees Celsius. But we have a commercial layer out there ranging in a free-range farm, and their environmental temperatures will be in around 18 to 20 degrees Celsius in terms of their thermoneutral zone. So it's very important that we recognize that. So during these warm periods of weather at the moment, some of our birds will be very comfortable. In some cases, some farms will have to burn a lot less gas or fuel to keep their houses warm. But it's those birds that are in those adult stages of their life, or those heavier broiler or meat birds, that we really need to be considerate of. So if we take, for example, a broiler at 21 days or over, their thermoneutral zone is going to be anywhere between 18 and 24 degrees Celsius. That's not to say that we should be running our houses at 18 degrees all year round, but in periods of warmer weather, it does give us some flexibility, and we're not necessarily going to compromise the bedding of our birds in this warm weather. In terms of a broiler breeder, typically we're looking at a thermoneutral zone of between 21 to 28 degrees Celsius. That's in adult broiler breeders in the laying house. So it does again give some flexibility to try and bring those temperatures down where possible. And finally, I guess commercial layers in lay, so adult commercial layers, we're talking about thermoneutral zones of 18 to 24 degrees Celsius. And considering those temperatures, it's very important then that we try and utilize different times of the day to try and bring our environmental temperatures in the houses down. So here in Ireland, at least, at night time, it tends to still get quite cold. So we're down to temperatures of 14 to 15 degrees Celsius. And that's why I gave that clear advice in my previous video to try and over-ventilate the houses during the night time. Once the sun goes down, get those houses over-ventilated. Bring the environmental temperature down in the houses. Bring it down more than where you normally would go. So remember those thermoneutral zones. You're talking broilers, 18 to 24 degrees Celsius. So try and get that house temperature in birds that are over 21 days of age, or those that are at greatest risk of heat stress, down to that 18 degrees mark, or in some cases slightly lower. What that will do is it will allow those birds to recuperate. It will allow them to get back on their feet, get eating, get drinking, basically refreshing themselves for the next day's heat. And as we look forward in terms of the forecast at the moment, it's looking like the next 7 to 10 days are going to be quite warm. And that will, of course, have quite severe effects on our birds. And it's not just going to affect a small number, it's going to affect the next 10 days of birds that are in those critical stages of their production cycles. So what are the actual negative effects then of heat stress on our birds? I guess those birds that are most at risk, where we're getting outside of their thermoneutral zone and the environmental temperatures in the houses are getting warmer, what are the negative effects? I guess they won't eat as much. They won't move around the houses as much. They're panting or open mouth breathing a lot. And that panting and open mouth breathing has a significant impact on the bird's energy levels, because they need to produce a lot of energy to work those muscles so that they're breathing faster and faster. But unfortunately, this panting or excessive breathing has a negative effect on the bird as well. It imbalances the pH of the blood. It also upsets the electrolyte balances in the actual cells at a cellular level. And it puts a lot of stress on the different organ systems of the birds. This will undoubtedly have effects on weight gains, production and performance as well. So it's important that we do try and recover our birds. Additionally, giving the birds some form of supplementation. Typically, we're advising electrolyte solutions with vitamin C, solutions with betaine in it as well. And what do? So vitamin C, an antioxidant, but vitamin C also helps birds to acclimatize to those warmer temperatures. The betaine, it helps at a cellular level, and it also helps in terms of intestinal function as well. And then your electrolytes, most importantly, trying to rebalance the blood, trying to rebalance the cells as well. So it's critical that you are recovering your birds at night by getting those houses cooler, getting them eating, drinking, but also ensuring that there is constant supply of water available to the birds, that it's fresh, it's cool, and also that you have these supplements in the water to try and support them during these difficult times as well. So the key things to keep in mind are the thermoneutral zone of our birds. It does allow us to get the temperatures lower in the houses without actually having a major compromise on the birds, and it's allowing recovery. So excessively ventilate your houses during those darker periods of the night to try and get a difference between the internal and external environmental temperatures. Allow those birds to get up, do whatever work you need to do in the houses as well during those times. It's also worth noting as well, it's very important that you are ensuring that your alarms are tested on a daily basis. You ensure that your ventilation system is working appropriately, it's responsive. It might seem like a silly thing to say as well, in those birds that no longer need heat, ensuring that your heating systems are turned off too. As always, if you have any further questions or anything, please reach out to your field advisors, your company representatives, or you can contact us at any of our local St. David's branches, and our vets will be more than happy to speak to you at any time. Thank you.